I told you this was coming. For months, I've been standing on the virtual mountaintop, screaming into the void that the geostrategic alignment between Moscow and Tehran was about to hit a tipping point that the geniuses in the State Department couldn't even fathom. And while you were watching the nightly news, distracted by the latest manufactured domestic crisis, it just happened. In the last 60 minutes, the balance of power in the Middle East, and by extension, the world, has shifted permanently. The media is scrubbing the flight manifests. The Pentagon is scrambling to recalibrate their satellite windows, and the elites are terrified that you'll realize the truth. Russia has just offered Iran the ultimate solution, a military and technological umbrella that renders the United States Navy and Air Force obsolete in the region. You need to see this right now because the truth is harsher than anything you'll hear from a press secretary, and by the end of this briefing I will reveal the smoking gun, the specific piece of Russian hardware now sitting on Iranian soil that makes an American strike on Tehran a suicide mission. In my time in military intelligence, having analyzed theater-level conflicts for decades and walked the halls of the Kremlin and the Pentagon alike, I have learned one thing. When the Russians move, they move with a cold, calculated brutality. The data I am seeing from my sources indicates that while we were playing checkers, Putin and Khamenei just finished a game of 4D chess. They haven't just signed a trade deal, they've integrated their command and control structures. Close your eyes and feel the vibration in the desert floor. In the mountains surrounding the Natanz and Fordo facilities, the air is thick with the smell of diesel and cold mountain air. You can hear the heavy hydraulic hiss of Russian-made S-400 Triumph missile canisters being erected into the firing position. But it's not just the missiles, it's the Krasuka 4 electronic warfare systems. The sky above Iran isn't just protected, it's being erased. Our F-35s, our trillion-dollar stealth fighters, are flying into a wall of digital noise. I've seen the reports, their radar screens are flickering, their GPS links are dropping, and the pilots are looking at black holes where the Iranian air defenses should be. This is the reality on the ground that the Pentagon is desperately trying to hide from the American public. Stay with me, because the most shocking part of this, the secret protocol signed in the Kremlin just hours ago, is coming in a moment. Let's talk about tactical reality. Having analyzed Soviet-era doctrine for my entire career, I can tell you that Russia's solution to the American problem in the Gulf isn't just defensive, it's a total kinetic neutralization. We're talking about the deployment of the Kh-47M2 Kinzhal, the Dagger. This is a Mach 10 hypersonic missile that can be launched from the back of a modified Iranian bomber. We have zero, let me repeat that, zero interceptors capable of stopping a Kinzhal. The Aegis system, the SM-3, the Patriot, they are all optimized for a world that no longer exists. When a Kinzhal hits a carrier deck, it doesn't just explode. The sheer kinetic energy at Mach 10 turns the ship into a floating graveyard before the explosives even detonate. I feel a deep burning grief for the troops we have stationed in the Green Zone and at Al Udeid. They are being used as human tripwires for a policy that has already failed. The insider pride I once had in our logistical superiority is crumbling as I watch the data showing Russian Il-76 transport planes landing every 15 minutes in Tehran, offloading the components of a digital kill switch for the entire Persian Gulf. And here is where the stress response loop tightens around your neck. This tactical handover of hypersonic tech and advanced EW isn't just about a regional skirmish, it triggers a global economic cardiac arrest. Every time a Russian technician boots up a new radar array in Iran, the risk to the Strait of Hormuz triples. The petrodollar is currently on life support. If the US can no longer guarantee the security of the oil lanes because Russia has given Iran the keys to the kingdom, the dollar dies. Imagine waking up tomorrow to $15 gas. I'm not talking about a slow rise, I'm talking about a vertical spike as the insurance markets realize that a single Iranian drone guided by Russian GLONASS satellites can mission kill a supertanker with pinpoint accuracy. Your bank account is directly linked to the solution Russia just gave Iran. If the dollar loses its reserve status because we've been pushed out of the Middle East, your life savings will lose 40% of its purchasing power in a week. The elites in DC don't care. They have their assets in gold and offshore havens. They want you to keep paying your taxes to fund a military that can't even protect its own fleet. Stay with me because the smoking gun regarding the unthinkable nuclear scenario is just seconds away. The Pentagon is in a state of absolute shock because they realized Russia didn't just give Iran weapons, they gave them the intellectual property for the Iskander-M missile system. This is a game changer. The Iskander is designed specifically to evade our THAAD batteries. It performs erratic maneuvers in the terminal phase that defy the physics of our interceptors. By handing this over, Russia has ensured that Iran has escalation dominance. This means that in any conflict, Iran can always take it one step further than we can, and we have no answer. I've analyzed the psychological state of the decision makers in the Pentagon. They are panicked. They are seeing Mach 7 and Mach 10 signatures on their simulations, and they are realizing that the American century is ending not with a whimper, but with the roar of a Russian-made engine. They are now discussing limitless options. That is the polite bureaucratic way of saying they are looking at the nuclear threshold. Because they've lost the conventional war before it even started, they are considering the unthinkable. Think about the sensory detail of that scenario, the flickering communication lines in your own home, the sirens that don't stop. The smell of cordite isn't just in the Gulf anymore, it's a theoretical shadow hanging over every American city. We are 3 mistakes away from a global exchange because we couldn't accept a multipolar reality. Russia offered Iran the one thing America couldn't: total immunity from Western regime change. In exchange, Iran has effectively become the southern anchor of a new Eurasian fortress. This is the solution. It's an integrated defense net that stretches from the Arctic to the Indian Ocean. And the smoking gun I promised? My sources have confirmed that the solution included the delivery of the Russian Avtobaza-M signals intelligence system. This is the system that can spoof the encrypted data links of our MQ-9 Reapers and even our stealth drones, allowing the Iranians to literally hijack our aircraft out of the sky and land them at their own bases. This happened once before, but now it's been automated and scaled across the entire theater. The technical specificity here is what the talking heads on CNN won't give you. They'll talk about tensions. I'm talking about the 1L222 Avtobaza-M system operating on the XQ and Ka bands, saturating the electromagnetic spectrum and blinding the eyes of the American empire. I'm talking about 55 waves of simulated attacks that our systems failed to intercept in the last round of wargaming. I am rapidly shifting between a sense of patriotic anger and a cold, hard realization. We have been lied to. They told us Russia was a gas station with nukes. They told us Iran was a ragtag militia. They were wrong on both counts. Russia is a high-tech military powerhouse that has just operationalized the most effective anti-access area denial, A2AD zone in history, and they've handed the keys to our most bitter rival in the region. Stay with me because the final piece of this puzzle is the most terrifying. Why did Russia do it now? Because they know the petrodollar is the only thing keeping the American economy afloat. By giving Iran the ability to shut down the oil flow at will and protect themselves while doing it, Russia has effectively put a gun to the head of the Federal Reserve. The economic consequences for your bank account are already in motion. We are looking at a total systemic collapse of the just-in-time global delivery system when the Strait of Hormuz is de facto controlled by a Russo-Iranian partnership. Every barrel of oil becomes a political weapon. Your 401k is tied to companies that cannot function without cheap energy. The elites are already moving their money into hard assets. They are preparing for the Greater Depression while they tell you to trust the process. I've seen the reality on the ground. I've seen the streaks of light from the test fires of the new Iranian Iskander variants. I've heard the insider chatter that confirms our carrier strike groups have been ordered to stay back, far back, outside the Kinjal zone. That is a retreat in everything but name. The U.S. Navy is no longer the master of the seas. It is a collection of targets. The smoking gun document I mentioned at the beginning, it's a memorandum of understanding between the Russian Ministry of Defense and the IRGC, which includes a mutual defense clause. If we strike Iran, we are at war with Russia, period. The Pentagon is hiding this because they know the American people will not support a World War III to protect a failed policy in the Middle East. They are trying to find a way to nullify the treaty, but you can't nullify a Mach 10 missile that's already on the launcher. You need to understand the magnitude of this. The world changed in the last hour. The solution has been delivered. The dagger is in the hand of the adversary, and our shield is full of holes. The mainstream media will continue to feed you distractions. They'll talk about celebrity scandals or domestic political theater. Don't let them. Look at the orange skies over the Gulf. Listen to the sirens of the global economy. The reality is that we are overmatched, outmaneuvered, and led by a class of people who would rather see the world burn than admit they were wrong. As a former Marine intelligence officer, my oath is to the truth and to the security of this nation, not to the elites who are destroying it. I will keep bringing you the data they want to scrub. I will keep showing you the smoking guns they want to bury. Stay alert. The world you knew is gone. The new one is being dictated from Moscow and Tehran, and the bill is coming due at your local gas station tomorrow morning. Stay with me. The truth is the only armor you have left.